What's up, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite New York Jets subscription podcast, Badlands. I'm your host, Joe Caporoso, joined by Casey Halpern, not Connor Rogers, but Casey's been on a few times. Profit Exchange. We are going to do an audio/video version of the 12-pack this week where we give our predictions for Jets Pats, talk some other bets that we would like to get in. Casey, good to have you back. How you feeling, my friend?
I'm doing well, Joe. It's a dreary, rainy Saturday morning here in New York City, but always good to see your face and talk a little Jets football. So excited to be back on the pod. Thanks for having me.
Amen. So we were talking before we got on. The vibes are low with the fan base right now. It's like everyone, the hangover is like finally hitting after the Rodgers injury. Like we got to kind of push the hangover off a little bit because of the Gibson walk-off touchdown and seeing them lose to Dallas the way they did, although, again, understandable loss. But now with the New England, I'll call it the New England yearly dread upcoming, the fan base vibes are low, and we have to hope there's a way to scrape this out. Now, my general predictions for Sunday are going to skew towards, unsurprisingly, a very low-scoring, very ugly game. It's going to be a weather game. I'm looking outside the window at Hoboken right now. I live like 2 miles from the stadium. It's gross out. It's only going to get grosser. If you're going to the game, God bless. I'll be hunkered down inside tweeting like a madman. Not at the stadium as I was in week one and was last year for the Pats. My first big prediction for this game is the training wheels come off Breece Hall in this one. I think he gets at least 15 touches. And my hope is that most are behind AVT, Becton, and Ruckert. Uzama should be on the bench for Ruckert, I should put out there. And that will tie into my second prediction, that Ruckert plays at least 15 to 25 snaps in this game. And as they start making that transition to get him more regularly in the lineup. That was one of the ones that Saleh really actually openly addressed in the press conference. How are you feeling about the running back usage at this point going into this game?
At this point, I'm a little frustrated, but I understand why they're kind of keeping the training wheels on Breece. They want to keep him fresh, but I think 4 carries is ludicrous. I'm also a little concerned that just how kind of old and run down Dalvin Cook looks. Like he looks
very old and very run down.
Like it looks like there's just zero juice left in that tank. My friend actually texted me during the game against the Cowboys. He goes, "Dude, Dalvin Cook runs like my grandma," and I'm like, "Oh, that's probably not the best comparison, but you're probably right." But yeah, I think Breece has to get more touches. They got to run him behind Highway 77 and Highway 75. Just build that interstate. Put Ruckert on there. Just pave the way. I mean, you saw what Breece Hall could do in week 1 against the Bills. He is one of the most electric running backs in the NFL, and it's absolutely insane that he immediately came and just popped off a big few home runs in week 1. 9 months removed from ACL surgery?
Yeah. His first 3 carries, he had like 109 yards or something. So if you're going to go down with your, elite players. And look, he didn't really play last week, right? He had barely any touches. So that pitch count is a little saved up for this Pats game. And, it's got to be a lot of Breece. I think you'll still have a little Cook and Carter mixed in. I don't think they're going to hit the Izzy button yet. I think that's probably coming after the bye week. But you got to lean on Breece Hall. Now, from a Zach Wilson perspective, Zach's been straightly dreadful against New England. There's no other way to put it. Weather as well, this is not going to be a game I'm going to predict him to be throwing for hundreds of yards. This feels like, let's call it like 11 for 19, 131 yards, hopefully 20 to 30 rushing yards, maybe sacked 2-ish times. 1 touchdown, 1 turnover. That's kind of my standard like Zach Wilson prediction line. I just think the yardage is going to be low. I think it's going to be a very conservative game plan because of the weather and the wind in particular. Maybe you get, some quick screens to the outside, 1 or 2 shots down the field, but this isn't going to be the game that you open it up for Zach Wilson. This is going to be the game that you say, use your legs. The Pats have struggled with that. Let's lean on Breece. Let's lean on the quick passing game. I don't think the stats are going to jump off the page on this one. I do think we'll see a little more Hardman on offense. Maybe not a ton more, but I think he'll get above Cobb on the depth chart. I still think you'll get at least 4 to 7 Garrett Wilson targets, but they're going to be in the short, quick game, so I wouldn't be expecting his normal fantasy output this week. What's the expectations for Zach Wilson going into this one?
just don't lose the game for us. Look, every time we've played the Patriots, the past 2 years, the sole reason the Jets have lost the game is because of the quarterback. I mean, last year, the 10-3 dreadful loss in which he kind of obviously lost the locker room and lost the fan base after. Everyone remembers that. We don't need to rehash that one, but what he threw for 77 yards in a 10-3 loss. The first game against the Pats last year, they looked good for the first 28 minutes of the game, and then a bad roughing the passing call, a bad interception right before the half. We know how that one ended. 2021, first home opener as a New York Jets starting quarterback, 4 interceptions, and then he got hurt in the second game that year. I mean, it's been a house of horrors for the Jets against the Patriots in general, but Bill Belichick, he's not scared of Zach Wilson. He's got his number, so just play smart football, check it down, just do the right thing, get the ball out quickly, just don't turn it over. Don't make that back-breaking mistake, and look, I think we need to also see the offensive coordinator do a better job of putting the Jets offense in a position to succeed and Zach in a position to succeed. Utilize the play-action passing game. Put Ruckert in, as you said. Put him in the passing game. People are going to think they're going to sell out against the run. Obviously, let him go open down the seam. Also, I bet on Jeremy Ruckert anytime touchdown at DraftKings at 35-1, just because I do think he's going to play a little more. And I could see them doing a little play action if they do get into the gold zone. So nice flyer at DraftKings. Only time I'll ever shout them out. But 35-1. Just make Zach comfortable, right? Give him a chance to at least manage the game effectively, and just don't force him into making some sort of back-breaking interception or fumble. Just be smart with the football. Rely on the running game. Incorporate Brees, and please run right. Please,
yeah. Get this doesn't have to be that complicated, right?
It's not.
Put your best running back behind your best run blockers, and yes, from a game plan standpoint, make Zach's life easier. Listen, I'm not fully bought into the Zach is night and day compared to last year. I think he's doing some things better. I think he's still mostly the same guy from what I've seen, but the offensive staff did nothing to help him last week. Do something to help him this week, and the rest of the team has to do a little more to help him. Really, only Garrett Wilson showed up last week. Everybody else was pretty awful on offense. Lazard's been fine too, but again, that's a pretty small overall portion of the plan there. From a inactive standpoint, Tony Adams will be out, so we'll see Amos and Whitehead at safety with Ashton Davis off the bench. Seems like Zerline and Dwayne Brown will play despite, not really practicing this week. I do think they'll get McDonald back up and be active, even if that means they're extra heavy with edge rushers. I think the inactives will get. Yeah. Right now, McDonald, Lawson does not really look playable right now. I don't know if they're going to keep him active or not, but you got to get McDonald active. You got to get him reps. He's got to learn from playing, and you got to get him out there. The Jets have played well against Mac Jones. The defense really hasn't been the problem. They've gotten after him. New England's offensive line is not great right now, and I think the Jets defense will play well in this game. I think they'll sack Mac Jones, 2 or 3 times. I think they'll force a turnover. I think they'll do what they've generally done, which is keep New England's offense pretty well contained. The question is, are they going to be able to do enough on offense and special teams to get over the hump? So I don't think there's going to be a ton of surprises on the inactive list. I think, you'll see Brownlee inactive again. You'll probably see Max Mitchell inactive again unless something flares up with Brown. And I think they'll be over the top on the people who are active on the defensive line and edge group, because they'll be a little lighter than usual at safety with Adams being out. So no shockers there. New England's -2.5. I think that's more than reasonable. I think the last over/under I saw, it's dropping into the mid-30s, which I still think is, yeah. What are you seeing it at right now? Give me the updated numbers and the best way to attack it.
Yep. I'm pulling it up right now, but right before around 9:30, I saw it was dropping to around 37 on Profit Exchange. So I'm pulling it up right now. So right now the Jets are +2.5 at +106. I actually like that a lot.
Yeah.
And the over/under is kind of hovering around 36.5, which is really low. It's going to be a slop fest, obviously. I don't think either offenses are electrifying and explosive enough anyways, but the weather just makes this game a lot uglier.
It feels like a 13-9 game, 13-10.
I was going to say Jets 17-16.
Yeah.
And actually,
And even that, it's only gets you to 33. Like, I can't see even in the mid-30s going anywhere, even thinking about the over in this game. Yeah.
I'd honestly be shocked if either team breaks 20. In the last 10 years, totals of 37 or lower have actually gone under 17-9. So
it makes sense, yeah.
Pretty good bet, pretty high clip. I also have a question for you.
I'm ready.
Do you know that the Jets, since their last win against the Patriots, not a question, but a statement. Do you know that the Jets, since their last win against the Patriots, have scored over 17 points against them one time?
That's horrifying. And was that the game last year with the garbage time touchdown at Conklin that got them over 17?
No, that got them to 17. But that was the 30-27 Monday night.
Oh, the Flacco Perryman game, yeah.
With the Phantom Man on the field. And thank God we lost that one also. But.
Yes.
For Trevor.
Points are always at a premium in this game. I think it's going to be, and look, weather games are weather games, but this is going to be, I think, a different level. Like, this is going to be closer to that, like, Pats-Bills game when it was, like, ridiculous win. That's how, I mean, sometimes the weather reports are wrong here in New Jersey, but it's supposed to be that bad. So this feels like full game under, halftime under especially. This feels 6-3 at the half, 3-0 at the half, and it's going to come down to, candidly, I think what defense helps generate points or what special teams unit helps generate points. And there's definitely a path where the Jets could win a very gross game and everyone still leaves with a lot of questions about their offense and their quarterback, but at least you have that win to buy some time and figure it out.
If they do win, I feel like that's a likely outcome, though. Like, no matter what.
Yes, there's not, with this weather, it's not like them winning 27-10 because they light it up in the passing game. This doesn't really make sense with these conditions. I'll be honest, and I was saying this in the Discord. If I'm taking a big step back and trying to be as objective as possible and as pragmatic as possible, as I generally try to do here, there's not a lot of logical reasons to pick the Jets in this game. You would look at the history. Bill Belichick has owned Zach Wilson. The Patriots have owned the Jets and Robert Saleh. They've owned the Jets in general. This is a must-win game for the Pats. If they lose this game, their season's effectively over. You're not coming back from 0-3 and 0-2 in the division, and especially when you already have 2 home losses on the board. The Jets seem to be in a little bit of a post-Rodgers like depression haze. There's not going to be much of a home field advantage in this game. Stadium's probably going to be half filled. There'll be plenty of Patriot fans there. It's weird weather, and usually weird things. You would give that advantage to the better coaching staff, which, until proven otherwise, is the Patriots coaching staff. I don't think the Jets are going to get blown out, but me picking them to win is strictly I want them to win because I know how important this game is. If I will bet individual props on this game. I will bet the under in this game. I won't bet the outcome because, gun to my head, I think New England wins an ugly, close, low-scoring game. I do think, when I say that with 95% certainty, no. I think it's closer to a coin flip game, but the logical pick here, if you had no emotional attachment to the game, would be New England to probably win by 3 to 5 points in a close, low-scoring game. That swings if the Jets' defense does something exceptional, if Zach Wilson is a pleasant surprise, if Breece Hall goes insane. And I think that's my most confident path is Breece Hall gets 16 carries for 148 yards and a touchdown, and something else happens with the defense or special teams, and the Jets escape 13-10, 13-12. That's ultimately where my head's at.
I completely agree with you. Like, if I was taking my fan hat off and just, like, completely betting this game as an outsider, I would probably bet the Patriots. I would also just bet the under just because it's going to be a slot fest. But in order for the Jets to win this game, it's going to come down to the defense making a few plays, sacks, turnovers, just force 1 or 2, put the offense in a better position to succeed. And Breece Hall, play the man, give him touches. He's your most electric offensive weapon. He's your best running back by far. Put him behind the right side, form that interstate, and hopefully we see Breece Hall become the first Jets running back to rush for 100 yards against the Patriots since Chris Ivory in 2014.
Ooh,
10 years. Like, insane.
It's insane. All right, before I drop out a couple random NFL picks since I was 3-0-1 last week, tell the good people about Profit Exchange and how to maximize their value there.
Yep, absolutely. So Profit Exchange, as you all know, it's a peer-to-peer betting exchange where you're betting against other people in New Jersey, not against the house like a sports book. So as a result of that, you're going to get much better odds because users are setting the odds themselves against each other, and that cuts out the vig. Whereas if you go onto a sports book, all the props you see are going to be one-sided, whereas on Profit Exchange they're going to be two-way, where that means right now, like we have Breece Hall to score a touchdown this weekend. We have yes at plus 220, but we also offer no. So if you wanted to fade Breece Hall, you could bet on him not to score a touchdown at minus 340. But I would take that yes at plus 220. Also much better price than on FanDuel, which is plus 185. But Profit Exchange is your absolute go-to, must-have betting operator to take your straight bets. Props, spreads, money lines, totals, and we actually just revamped our referral program. So every friend you refer to Profit Exchange, you get $100, and every third friend you refer, you get $200. So pretty good
free
deal.
money.
Free money.
Come on
We're
now.
incentivizing you to invite your friends because it's just going to make Profit Exchange that much stronger, provide for much more liquidity and much better odds.
Please get on it, folks. I'll be on my props tomorrow. I'll be on some college football later today because it's raining out. Got to drink and gamble. It's the only way. I got one
trivia question for you before we wrap up.
I'm ready.
When was the last time the New York Jets were favored against the New England Patriots?
I will say week 2 of the 2008 season when Favre was the quarterback and Castle was the Pats quarterback.
So that wasn't the last time, but yes, they were favored in that. But the last time was November 13th, 2011. The Jets were minus 2.5 favorites.
They lost that game too. That was
they lost by double digits.
Yeah. That was the ending moments of the Rex era. Disappointing all around.
It's been 12
it's
years since they haven't been favored against the Patriots. That is so sad.
I mean, it's a very sad stretch right now, and it's why Jet fans of our age will always have such a soft spot for those Rex years because they just beat the Pats 3 times in 2 years, and that was such a foreign thing to have happen. It's a thing. As I said on Twitter, this counts as 1.5 wins. It does for this fan base. Like if they could just get this one off the board and effectively end New England season because New England plays Dallas next week. They'll be 0-4, and what's better than that? Of course, I want them to be bad, but not bad enough to get Caleb Williams. So they should go like 5-12. We'll take, but no worse than that.
The Caleb Williams sweepstakes are going to get interesting.
I know, because the Cardinals don't look quite as bad as we expected. My other NFL games that I'm looking at, in the AFC East, I do think Buffalo, even though it's on the road and even though they're like a feisty 2-0, I think Buffalo wins but doesn't cover against Washington. They're 6.5-point favorites. So I think Washington covers, but the Bills win. I think the Dolphins blow the doors off of Denver and put them at 0-3. Sorry, Sean Payton. They're 6.5-point favorites as well. Another game I like a lot is I think the Texans will cover the 8 against the Jaguars. Keeping an eye on that one. And one more quick scroll through here. I kind of like the Titans plus 3.5 against the Browns, adjusting to no Nick Chubb, and Deshaun Watson's been awful. So those are the games that I'm watching in what is a very open, muddled AFC East. My final message before I'm back recording tomorrow, hopefully for a post-game party and not post-game therapy, is let's pick the vibes up a little bit, Jet fans. I get the depression. I get it. I get being upset right now. It's week 3, and there is no one running away in the AFC. The season is not over. This is a huge game. I get the daunting feeling of being 1-2 going into the Chiefs game. There's still a very real path to the Jets being 3-3 at the bye if they can handle business tomorrow, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to do that. So everything that you were worried about this year happened last week. Hopefully it's out of the system. They've had a full week now. It's not a short week to prep. We'll be back to talk about it more tomorrow. Casey, as always, thank you for joining. As always, guys, promo code Badlands at Profit Exchange. Don't forget to use it. And we will be back tomorrow to talk to you soon. Bye.